Hi, I'm Patrick Gaino, and today we're going to be talking about creating value. I'm going to teach you an easy, fun art activity where you'll use different types of lines to create shading in order to make value in your art. You'll be able to do this activity with anything that you draw in the future. Today is just a warm-up to get you started. All you really need is a pen, pencil, marker, whatever it is that you can make a mark with, and something to make that mark on. If you're ready, let's get started. So today we're going to be drawing a cactus, but we're doing this so that we can learn about shading. We'll be shading using hatch lines and by cross hatching. What this means is that we draw lines closer together if we want the shadows to be darker, and the further apart the lines go, the lighter or the more gray it looks. And as you start to step further and further back, our eyes see that as shade and not as lines. When we want to make it really dark, we can create cross hatches. Cross hatches allow us to cross over the hatch lines and create really, really dark areas so that we have this darker value, medium value, and then a much brighter or lighter value. We'll be working on a cactus, and you can create any kind of cactus that you like. I'm going to create just the stereotypical cactus that you would find in the desert. We're going to look at this not as a flat shape, but as a three-dimensional form. So to do that, we need to create some shadows. So as you can see, I'm adding some shading with hatch lines along the edge, and I'll do it along the other edge. And already that starts to pop out. It starts to look a little bit more dimensional, like it could pop off of the page. I'm going to cross hatch now over parts of this. And a really important part to this process is stopping, looking, and seeing what needs to be done next. So now I'm going to pull some hatch lines out that are a little bit further apart to create a brighter area, an area with that medium sort of value. And as I pull that out, I create more dimension. So we can see here, this area in the middle of my cactus is really where the sun would be hitting. So now I'm going to start working on the rest. All right, so it's really important that you also think about the length of your lines. Shorter lines give a different image than longer lines, and they have a different impact than curved lines. So if you want to create movement around your cactus, you're going to need to curve some of your lines. And you may have noticed me doing that in the sped up part of the video. As we curve that line, it creates what's called form. And form really is when it starts to look three-dimensional. For this cactus, I want to add a few more extra touches. We know that cacti are pokey, so we'll add some short lines. We can do them in sort of different little directions so that they look more natural, because in nature, things often are a little bit more random than perfectly straight and perfectly patterned, although we do find many patterns in nature. Just adding a little bit of variety into how we place these lines is going to make it more interesting to look at. So we have created some shading, and that shading really is our value, where it goes from super dark to medium to lighter. We're looking at where the light fell, so maybe the sun is shining directly on my cactus, and that's why I have these highlight areas, which really aren't very much touched by lines at all, although you can still create a highlight area with some lines. As you can see here, I'm going in with a much smaller, finer line, but I'm also curving it to give it that form. So here we have our cactus. Our cactus has shading and value made from line. Remember, when you do lines next to each other, we call that hatching. And when we cross over, we simply add the word cross to hatching. So we have some cross hatching happening.
Now?
So that's how you work on a cactus. That's how you add shading and value using line. And your job now is to go off and explore, not just a cactus, but anything at all that you wish. Have fun.